Yeah, yeah. Making her way to the mic. They start dimming the lights. You start feeling alright. From Birmingham, home of the Teddy Longs, and the room is stutters. More once you discover. For all of the lovers, Whitney Houston and Roman Reigns. For all of the lovers, and Mickey James and Marvin Gaye. For all of the lovers, and Sasha Banks, Janelle Monáe, Silk, Sonic, and Paige. Allow me to say, look, I just found a place, sweet escape. Every one of us, I was kinda late, cause I just made it off the struggle bus. Walking by the fate, cause I know it's right in front of us. Yo, I ain't with the hate, gotta focus on what's great. Ladies and gentlemen, Steph Hardy is on the air. Had to drop a couple bars just to make you all aware. So, sit back, relax, enjoy the show. You know I go by Joe or the rest of the flow, yeah.
Hey y'all, welcome to a new episode of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast with your girl Stephanie Hardy. Your other girl, Bianca Addison, was not able to come on tonight, but I am here and absolutely honored to be sitting here with a wrestler who I am so happy I've had the pleasure of getting to know over the past month or so. She is the Big Valley Wrestling Fighting Champion and the first female at that to hold that championship in Las Vegas, Nevada. And she has a really big match coming up, but she is Taniya. She is here to take the world by storm. And I'm so happy to have you here on HWP. How are you, Taniya?
I'm doing really good. I'm very excited. I'm excited for the event. I'm excited to talk to you guys. So let's get this rolling.
Absolutely. So, of course, I got to ask you the one question I start off with all of my guests, and that is, when did you fall in love with wrestling?
Okay. So I think I started to really like wrestling in 2016. And
Mm-hmm.
I did see a little bit of Shawn Michaels in a documentary like in 2015, but I really started in 2016 when the women's evolution started.
Mm-hmm. That's a really great place to start because I mean Shawn Michaels, he's a goat. He's just the showstopper and just he was one of my favorites growing up as well, but a little bit later in during his run, I caught him when he found God. That's my joke that I love to tell people. Like he
Yeah.
became my favorite when he got saved, but then to go back and look at his journey beforehand, it's just like whoa. But yeah, and the women's evolution, you can never go wrong with that. We love women's wrestling here on HWP, so I'm so glad to hear that that is actually what inspired you to get into wrestling and love it the way that you do. So when did you decide that you wanted to do this yourself? You wanted to go after your own wrestling career?
So when I started watching wrestling in 2016, obviously the women's revolution was happening, and I got to see them do a lot of things, break down a lot of doors, and it just felt like more of representation, to see women kicking ass, or I don't know if I could cuss.
No, you can cuss. It's fine. We're grown. It's fine.
The way that they did, and once I started to look on the indies and see other people making a name for themselves outside of WWE, that's when I decided I can do this. Maybe I might not make it to WWE, but I can actually try this out. So I really kind of give my credits to the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, because those were the big names that I kept hearing. And I was like, if I could be as cool as them, maybe a quarter of as cool as them, then I'm set in my heart. I'm set.
Yeah, it's so interesting you bring up Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, and of course you look at them now with All Elite Wrestling and all that they've done in the past 6 years. And then it's during that time, during the women's revolution, and also during the rise of the indies with them, and of course, even though before everything fell apart with Cody Rhodes and everything,
Mhm.
independent wrestling was in this huge renaissance where they were really like ready to sort of take on their own identity and want to create more alternatives for things. And they are
Mhm.
definitely a part of that movement. And then, of course, you look at what they've done now with AEW and how they've offered, an even larger alternative to WWE and other places. And it's just really nuts to sort of look at it. And it also notice, um, makes you want to notice independent wrestling even more, because I can definitely say if it were not for them, and also if it weren't for CM Punk, I would not have explored the independents as much as I have, with them mentioning them on larger platforms on television. I'm just like, wait, what? What's Ring of Honor? What's this? What's that? Let me
Yes.
go and look at what all this stuff is now that you've brought it up on television. And so
Mhm.
they are definitely, some of the founding fathers to a degree of what independent wrestling is at this point. So I think
Absolutely.
that's really good that you mentioned them as a part of your journey, along with loving women's wrestling as well. So as you got started, like, where exactly did you train, and what lessons did you learn along the way that you still carry with yourself?
Okay, so I originally lived in Los Angeles, and I was looking around at schools, but I was kind of like in this job where I felt like it was a secure job. Like I didn't have time to do those things, but also I was looking around, the job, and was like, my peers are, significantly older than me, and they're just like, this is their career, and this is probably where they're going to be for the rest of their lives. And I didn't want to be there for the rest of my life. I wanted to try this out, and I didn't really have any luck looking at the schools in LA, but my brother had moved to Vegas, and he told me, "Hey, I know that you want to be a wrestler. I found this wrestling school called Future Stars of Wrestling. And if you want, you can come down here. You can move in with me for a few months and see if you like it. If you don't, whatever." And I was like, yes. Like, you gave me an excuse to leave a really good job and, chase my dream. So I went out there, and I don't know, maybe the lesson that I learned from there is to have resilience, because you've got to have a lot of it to do what we're doing. Like, especially on the indie level, you're gonna get a lot of no's and a lot of people telling you you're not good enough. So you just have to have tough skin.
Yeah, I feel like in order to just be a wrestler as a whole, you definitely have to have tough skin. It is not for the faint of heart. I have never tried it. I've only ever watched it, and of course watched so many behind the scenes things. And it's just like there's just a sense of toughness that you have to have, and tolerance for pain that you have to have in order to do that. And that's why y'all have my full respect, because I know I can't stand pain. I do not like any form of pain. So whenever I see people doing the things that you guys do, like on a professional level, whether it be in the indies or on the mainstream platforms or whatever, I'm just like, look, that is awesome. And I
Yeah.
love how just super heroic they look, even though they're human beings and they're just doing this with their bodies. So I love that you learned how to be resilient, because even just in life, you have to learn how to have thick skin and bounce back from things. And I'm glad that you learned that at FSW, which has created, a lot of different stars that we have seen in the past, and even in more so modern days as well. So in Las Vegas and Los Angeles, it's like they're sort of becoming connected to a degree when it comes to their wrestling and also their fighting culture as well. You're seeing more events with boxing and UFC out there in Las Vegas, out west, and of course you got WrestleMania happening
Yeah.
2 years in a row in Las Vegas. I actually went out there this year and it was amazing. It was my first time.
Oh, great.
So Yeah, it was really nuts. It was a dream come true, but it was really
Isn't it
amazing. And
chaotic? It's so chaotic.
I mean, it's kind of chaotic, but at the same time, you find your pockets of peace. And I think that's what I try to do whenever I travel, is to find those pockets that feel like home while also at the same time exploring and having new adventure. So I loved Las Vegas, and hopefully at some point I can go back again, but we'll see. What obstacles had you faced during your wrestling journey that you've risen above that you would like to tell people about?
um, I think, and this might be like something that I shouldn't say, but I think that politics of wrestling,
Mm,
understanding that this is a business at the end of the day, and a lot of people are looking to make it, and just how cutthroat everything is, and not taking it to heart, and not taking it as like, okay, you're done. Like I really struggled with the like politics of wrestling and understanding that, and I don't know, that's something I still kind of struggle with. I don't know if I really rose above it,
mm-hmm.
but I struggle with it a lot because I thought it was just going to be, hey, like you're good, so we're going to give you a shot, but it's not like that much. You have to be good, and you have to know who to connect with. It's all about connections and stuff like that. And it's not bad. It's not bad, but it's hard.
Yeah, I understand things can be hard. Like even in wrestling, we've heard stories of politics and business moves and all of the above. But it's like you said, it just comes back to that resilience and knowing that you have something to offer and something to give
Mm,
to the business, and knowing what your worth is and adding tax to it. And honestly, I admire even what you have done so far in your career. Like you've been a champion for a lucha promotion. You're currently a champion for a promotion, and then you also wrestle for Pride Style as well. And they, even gave some love when I announced that you were going to be on the show. So it's like you're
oh, they
making a name for your
did.
yeah, they did. Like
I
they were just
did.
like, "Oh my god, we love this." And I was just like, "Oh my gosh, thanks." So like it's stuff like that that lets you know that you are on the right path, even in the midst of navigating shark infested waters, you can still swim.
Mhm.
So I like that. And I'm pretty sure at some, once you find your footing and blaze your own trail, you'll be fine. And you're on your way.
Thank
So
you.
who was the first wrestler you sort of saw yourself in terms of representation?
Who I saw myself in,
Yeah.
I think it has to be Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
Naomi has to be the person that I saw, and I was like, you look like me, and I think that you're badass. So, and like she did a lot of things that I thought like me as a wrestler would do. And I think she has a cheerleading background, right?
Yeah.
So I also had a cheerleading background. So I just looked at her and I was just like, you're basically what I want to be if I was in WWE. Sasha Banks is another one. She's definitely someone that I look up to, and I review her matches a lot to like get inspired.
Yeah, those are the big two, I think, when it comes to, along with so many other Black women in wrestling. Those are really like the big two who have gotten a lot more of their flowers over the past couple of years. And it's blessed me to see because I've been a fan of them my entire wrestling life as well. Especially Mercedes. I love her. Like, if you watch this show, look, you know that I love that woman all the way
Yes.
down. It's crazy. And I love Naomi too. And it's just that what they represent for Black women as a whole and in wrestling as a whole has just meant so much to just bear witness to watch them come more into their own powers. They were already excellent, but the idea of them believing in themselves so much so that they struck out on their own, became their own stars, and continued to elevate, women's wrestling and elevate other women as well, in their spotlight is just something that I will always love and admire. And I love that the both of you come from a cheerleading background and have that, in common, because I love cheerleading so much. I feel like it's a
Yeah.
sport that doesn't get enough credit. And I
Yeah.
just and as someone who used to take hip hop dance from a woman who also taught cheerleading, it's just kind of like, bro, like cheerleaders deserve more credit because the things they do with the outfits they wear and everything else like that to music, it's just so powerful. Like,
Yeah, we
give
had to
cheerleaders
fight.
more credit.
We had to fight to be like labeled as athletes in my high school. Like they would not label us as athletes. It was not until like my senior year that they like finally was like, okay, cheerleaders are athletes. So that was a battle that I had to go through. I also want to mention that recently I was just thinking about this person. I didn't get to mention her. China. I saw a lot of myself in China for whatever reason. There was something about her that I gravitated towards. And I think it was just because in that sort of realm, she didn't look like most divas. So
Mm-hmm.
she stood out. And I felt connected to that. And then I also just loved seeing her being like full throttle into the male dominated sport and like beating up these guys. And like, I just loved her so much. So I just really wanted to add her in.
Oh, absolutely. We love adding people in, and China's definitely one of those people. Another woman who I feel like deserved way more flowers in terms of
Mhm.
what she did, not even just in women's wrestling, but also sort of paving the way for intergender fighting.
Yes.
Like her strength, her unapologetic strength really did pave the way for a lot of different powerhouse wrestlers that we see. And then even in thinking about the Divas era with her, and even with Naomi, who started off as a diva and now fully transitioned into putting all of her powers into being a women's wrestler. It's just one of those things that you just love to see with the evolution of it all. And I'm happy that you see yourself in all of those women. They're all really amazing, and I'm really happy for you with in that regard. So, in looking you up and seeing, everything that you've done in your wrestling career so far, I see that on the indies you've faced a who's who in wrestling, like J Rod. You've even faced Jada Stone, who is like a TNA knockout at this point, and so many others. Who would you say is your favorite opponent so far, and why?
That's a hard one. I think you're trying to get me in trouble. Okay.
No, not at
uh,
all. Not at
my
all.
favorite opponent. Ugh, I don't know.
Hmm. It's
Um,
okay.
I actually really did have a lot of fun wrestling J Rod, like the few times that I wrestled her, because I wrestled her in a 3-way with Alice Blair,
Hmm.
and that was one of my early on matches, and I had so much fun in that match. And then I also had a 3-way with her with Zyra, and that one was a really good one. So J Rod, I think, I don't know. She's super fun. Jada, I love her. I love her so much. And I hope I get to wrestle her more. Um, Black Swan is a good one. Black Swan, me and her had a match, and I'm probably most proud of that match because we really collaborated on something that I felt like uh changed the perspective on like our abilities. So there's just so many great people. I have a lot of good matches with Nick Xander. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like essentially, you enjoy wrestling everyone, but everyone has something great to challenge you with and offer you when you're getting ready to fight them. So I like that a lot. So, and then I've actually come to know J Rod as she's been a performer on Wild Superheroes. It's Nikki
Mhm.
Nashville, and she is so powerful. I love how gorgeous she is, and I just love how much of a powerhouse she is as well. But she
Yes.
can get technical too. So I really do love J Rod. I love J Rod all the way down, and I can't wait to see more of what she has to offer. But I just loved seeing you and watching you, go up against these people, and then also fighting men. Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
here again, back to the intergender wrestling because
We love
independent
intergender.
wrestling. Yeah, independent wrestling, has more of an open door towards that sort of thing. And at first, I thought because of the way I was raised and the way that I was brought up, I would feel like it would be a little bit icky. But the
Mhm.
older I get and the more indie shows I go to, I'm just kind of like, yeah,
Yeah.
Let these women beat up on these men a little bit. Like, let it
Exactly.
happen.
We're doing it for y'all.
Yeah, let it happen. Like, let's go, okay? Like, let's do it. So I actually have more of an open mind to it than I did at first, because at first I was like, wait, no, but yeah. Yeah, it takes a lot.
Yeah,
But
that's how my family is. Whenever they're like, "What's your next match?" I'm like, "Oh, it's just some guy," and they're like, "Why are you fighting these men? You're gonna get hurt."
oh, well, how has your family been in terms of supporting your wrestling career?
I think like with any family, like my mom and my dad, they're kind of just like, okay, like I've never heard anyone say that they wanted to do this before, but if you want, sure, I guess. Like I have a lot of dreams. Like I'm very like, oh, I want to do this and that and this and that. And then this was like the one that I like moved for and like trained for and like was committed. And I think that I just showed them that, you know, I can still work hard in my shoot life and try to work hard in my dreams too. So they're pretty accepting of it. There is times where they're just like, "Oh, that's strange, but hey, if that's what it requires, then go ahead."
Yeah, absolutely. I love that they're still support. It's like a support, but they're kind of like, please just don't get, yeah, like
Yeah,
don't get
don't get
hurt.
hurt.
But but at the same time, I love that they're still very much supportive of that, because I know it can be quite difficult when you sort of branch out of the average dream, especially when your parents are of a different generation. I know, because I tend to struggle with this too. But my parents are very open minded to a degree. They're just kind of like, okay, she's doing this. Okay.
Yeah,
Like, send me this. And I'd be like, oh, I did this. And they'll be like, oh, wow. Okay. And then they just, it's fine. That's
yeah.
just what they've learned how to do at this point.
Yeah, that's
So,
how it is. Whenever I send them like matches or something and they're like, "Oh wow, like this is so cool." They're like showing the whole family at the cookout.
mhm. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I love it. That's great. So, in your wrestling journey, how would you say you were able to sort of transition from wrestling, in terms of just training behind the scenes, into wrestling in front of audiences? And what would you say is the best audience reaction you've gotten so far?
Um, so I trained for a year, I think. Some people train way less than that, and then there's some people that train on and off. But I trained for about a year, and I knew that my school had this thing called Future Shock, and that's basically the show for all of the up and coming wrestlers, like the newer wrestlers. It was like the B show, and I knew that that was coming up. And I had seen like some other people already, get on the show, and they were talking about like, hey, like, you think you're going to be on? Mind you, the promoter never asked me if I wanted to be on or if I thought I was ready to be on. It was just being conspired behind my back. Like,
Wow.
yeah, put T on. And I was just like, oh, I don't even have like a wrestling name. I don't have my wrestling gear. I had just so happened to like inquire about wrestling gear. I had it made, and it came literally the day of the show, and it made me late a little bit, but I still got it. And I don't know, there was just one day that the promoter walked up to me and was just like, yeah, we're going to put you on Future Shock and be ready. I don't know. And I was just like, oh, okay, I didn't expect this. I didn't have like any time to prepare. And we did it, and I was very shy. If you go back and watch that, I like rushed through my entrance. I just walk up, get on
Oh,
there, and then like I get in the ring. But it was cool. It was definitely just a moment that I had to get through so that I could like continue to do it. As soon as I did it, I was just like, okay, I didn't die. Like, this is awesome.
that's so great. Like, but did you die? No, no, you got through
Yeah,
it.
I did not
And
die.
I think your gear arriving the day of is just proof that it was meant to be, even though it was kind of like a voluntold situation.
Yes,
But
they were
yeah,
so
but
mad at me that I came late.
yeah, but at the same time though, it was still meant to be because you still went on, and that's just really great. I just love it when things just come together in that way, and it just seems like you and wrestling were essentially meant to be in that regard. So I like that a lot. So in terms of your character, what would you say inspired your persona that you have when you go to the ring, when you step out in your entrance?
So right now I'm just a girl, Taniya, and it was really because every time I would come to training, my coaches would ask me like, "What are you? What are you? What do you do? What do you want to be?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just want to wrestle. I never thought I had to be a character like the Undertaker or something. And they just kept asking me. And there was a point in time where I wasn't wrestling a lot, and I had got this cool gear, and I always thought that like gear really represents like the wrestler. So I had got this cool gear, and then I was like, well, this is cool, but this kind of fits like what I would do like just as Taniya, but what would I do as a character? And I was just thinking about it, and at the time on TikTok, Just a Girl was viral. Like, no doubt, Just a Girl was a viral sound. And I just kept hearing it, and I was just like, yeah, what if I was just a girl? Like, what if I was just a girl? That's my character, because I had no idea what Taniya wanted to be, but just be a girl and wrestle it. So I played around with the idea, and it was like kind of a joke. And then it ended up being like, no, like, let's get some pink gear and let's come out to No Doubt. And I did it out of state. Like, I did it in NorCal. That was the first time I debuted that character. And I was like, well, if it doesn't go over here, then it's fine. I don't really work here that often. And I went out there, and they ate it up. They loved it. They cheered. Like, they didn't know who I was because I never really wrestled there. But they saw me, they saw the bubble gun, and they kind of just instantly understood what it was. And as soon as, like, I didn't even have to touch anyone, and they were just like, we want bubbles. And I was just like, okay. And then I came back, and actually the promoter of Pride Style, he messaged me, and he was just like, hey, I seen what you did in NorCal. I want to bring it here. And it just stuck from there.
See, that's amazing because I love that bubble gun and I've been eyeing it for years, and I feel like this is just another sign that I need to buy one because those are so cool. And the fact that you took a phrase and made it into a persona, but yet at the same time makes it so authentic, it's just amazing to me because I kid you not, the first time I heard No Doubt's Just a Girl, it was in Captain Marvel. And and I had been listening to No Doubt my entire life, but I had never heard that song up until I went to see Captain Marvel in North Carolina. And because I was on a business trip and I really wanted to see this movie, so I went to see it. And the song starts playing, and this woman is fully into her powers, and she starts kicking all this butt. And I look at, and the music just fit the whole moment. And and I've loved that song ever since. I cosplayed Captain Marvel that year because of it. Like, it was just one of the key moments of my 20s. For sure. Because it was just so empowering in that moment. And I just love that you were able to take that and combine the feminine with such a masculine act like wrestling, even though it's still very much feminine as well, because us women are in it. So of course it's going to be feminine. And I like that you were able to combine that and make it into who you are as a persona. Because a lot of times people think that cutesy stuff doesn't belong in wrestling. And I'm like, oh, yes, it does. Wrestling is the perfect place for the cutesy stuff. So it really is. I like it. Like, I like it a lot.
I don't know how I honestly, it started off as a joke. And then it just developed into like, no, this is actually who I am. I'm just a girl, and I like my bubble gun, and I like pink. And what are you gonna say about it? Like, I don't know.
Yes. You're a wrestling Barbie. I love it. But not really Barbie. I don't want to do that or like rebrand you, but it just
No, it's
reminds me of Barbie. I'm sorry. But yeah, so in the midst of your wrestling persona, finding out who you are, becoming resilient, you are now the first ever female Big Valley Wrestling Fighting Champion. How did it
yes.
feel to make that accomplishment?
I it was kind of like I didn't know how to take it at first because it all just got thrown onto me. I had to do like a tournament that day, and I had to go through like 3 opponents, and they were like, "Oh yeah, and by the way, you're gonna win this, I guess." And I'm sorry, no kayfabe. Sorry. um, and it just felt like felt like about time, but it also felt like the right moment because I had asked the promoter like randomly one time, like, "Hey, can I, show up on your show and, be around more often?" And I didn't know what that would lead to. I definitely didn't think it would lead to me being the first ever woman to hold a title for that company, but it feels really good. I still don't know how to take it. I'm really bad at like sentimental like things. I kind of like push it to the back of my brain, but it actually means a lot. I'm so glad that I got to make history with that. So
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it's okay because some people, just really don't feel all the sentimental feelings all the time. And that's
mhm.
perfectly fine as a human. And I think that that's an amazing accomplishment. And because that's such an amazing accomplishment for you, you're able to put Big Valley Wrestling on the map in this huge way. Then on top of that, this weekend you have to defend the championship
Yes.
in an intergender match. So how have you been preparing to face off against your opponent AJ Acker, and um, how are you planning on retaining the championship and maintaining your reign?
AJ is a great wrestler. I've been seeing him come up like from the very beginning. I saw him on his first day, and he has really blossomed into the black rose that he is. And I know that he wants to add my championship to his little garden, but it's not going to happen. Okay, I have been watching him for a while, so I know his moves. I know what he likes to do, and I know how to duck and dodge them. So we'll see if he adds my championship to his garden. But I'm leaning more towards I'm gonna come out victorious.
Exactly. You are just a girl who's going to stomp on the black rose and retain your championship. But big ups to the both of you for having this match at such a historic show. Unstoppable is the 11th anniversary show. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
really glad, in this age of people, um, there's over this entire year we've sort of seen independent promotions sort of phase out a bit, and it's really great to hear that there is this promotion in Las Vegas that has sustained for 11 years. So shout out to Big Valley Wrestling for that.
Yeah.
And I hope that they celebrate that in a big way, and you celebrate that with them with a huge possible victory, and you will continue with your championship reign. So what would you say the future holds for you, Taniya?
Um, I just want to keep evolving. I just want to keep evolving. Just a girl. Like I know it started off with pink and the bubble gun. The bubble gun probably will stay, but the like girliness of it. There's so many different ways to be a girl. Like it's not just the pink and the glitter and stuff like that. So I just want to keep evolving. I know I have this championship match coming up. I have another one coming up that same weekend. I just want to continue to put myself in those places where companies trust me with these, big matches. And honestly, I just want to wrestle more women. There's so many great women out there. I haven't been able to like touch with, there's Jocelyn Navarro, there's Maya World, there's just like, I want to wrestle Jada again. And there's just so many people. And that's really what I'm looking forward to.
Absolutely. It sounds like you've got a lot of work headed your way, but you have a lot of great dreams. And I'm so happy to hear that, from Black women in wrestling who are rising and continuing to find their voice and find their spark. So, Taniya, thank you so much for coming on the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. It is such an honor to be your sponsor for this match this weekend for Big Valley Wrestling. So, if you are watching this, or if you'll listen to this later, and if you are in the Las Vegas, Nevada area, please go to this show. Go to Big Valley Wrestling's 11th anniversary show, Unstoppable, and go see Taniya face off against AJ Aven to try to retain her fighting championship. So thank you so much for coming on. And of course, tell everybody where they can find and follow you on all of your socials, and where they can watch your matches and just all the things.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for these matches, guys. So if you can show up and wear some pink, okay? You can find me on Instagram at FVCKITSTANIYA. And that's primarily what I'm on, but you can also find me on Facebook at Taniya, Taniya, Mick Carter. And yeah, that's really it. I hope to see you guys.
Absolutely. So follow her, support her in her wrestling journey, and support independent wrestling as a whole. So, of course, you can find me and follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy, and on Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy. You can also follow the Hardy Wrestling Podcast on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast, and on Twitter at Hardy Wrestle Pod. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel and also support your girl as she continues her writing journey with Daily DDT, working on some pieces there to close out the year. And if you're interested in booking your girl for commentary, email me, DM me, we can work that out. But of course, thank you again, Taniya, you fierce lady, for coming on the show. And we're so honored to sponsor you for this amazing show that's happening in Las Vegas. So until next time, this has been HWP Live with your girl Stephanie Hardy and Taniya. And until next time, bye, y'all.